Hi everybody. I was just checking in with you guys. I haven't made a video lately. Um, so anyway, sometimes I like watching a variety of videos too, to get ideas and get perspective on the world. And it doesn't matter our age, because sometimes I relate the most to people who are decades younger than me, because I had to go through a healing process in life. So since I've kind of, well, you never stop healing. I mean, it's always something that you go through. But I'm kind of like levels off now. So I sort of relate to people that are kind of like starting a new beginning, or starting out for the first time, because I've had to start so many new beginnings in my life. It's part of my process, and I guess part of my calling. And even if you're just like me, like, for example, you really don't see yourself as super successful, or you're not name recognized, you're not famous, or you're not rich, and you're like wondering if you should start a YouTube channel so that you can pay your car insurance or your internet or whatever else you're trying to do, in addition to trying to get a new job or trying to supplement your retirement, or you might just be similar. So hey, start a channel, and then we can interview each other and make it grow. So I probably should be more proactive in trying to get people on my show, well, like a little show, to interview, instead of, I love my dog and cat. I know you do too. I've got my dog on this side, my cat on that side. If I could show for a second. There's my dog, and there's the cat. There he is. Okay. So, anyway, I'm right between them. So, and I'm just using my phone today. But I found this in my process of slowly but surely, very slowly but surely, decluttering. I found something useful. Sometimes when you're decluttering, you find something useful, and I found my small stand that I can put my phone on, like a tripod, instead of like I had the larger one, because at one point, I think I let somebody borrow it one time, somebody that had a long time ago, actually, helping me with something, but the top broke, and I had to just kind of like tape it with plastic tape on top. I suppose I could get it fixed. It's the frame that holds the tripod. That's when I do the stand-up ones, the ones where you can, and those kinds you can adjust to any height. I've had that thing for, I want to say 10 years now. Anyway, but I've moved it a lot too. That actually, when you think about it, that little tripod has been in Dallas and Los Angeles and Austin and here. And it's been through the states, because I always took it with me whenever I moved back and forth over the last 20 years. I had it in my car, so it was in other places too, New Mexico, Arizona, whatever. But anyway, so I got this little tripod. It's really small, and I think I had this before sometime too, but hardly ever use it. But you can actually just put your cell phone on it. I guess you could actually, I don't have that adjustment, but you could get something that would hold your iPad up too, if you'd rather. But anyway, so, and I was thinking about going to talking again, which I haven't talked about in a long time, about the celeb imposters. And, so, but it's funny, as you know, I'm an older single. And so, but my granny lived to be 99, so I still got to get hustling with trying to make more money and stuff, even though I'm technically of the older age where people slow down and such. But when you spend a lot of your money in your later years working a lot, but yet chasing back and forth a lot for acting auditions, or like moving some, or also even when I was sold insurance, although I made a profit usually. But, you know, always chasing around, you know, wearing down your car. I was a news reporter, chasing around, driving around, newspaper, you know. But we still had to run around and take pictures and get stories and get everything in person. And, you know, it was more authentic on the phone as opposed to, you know, just texting or emailing, which brings back up, we're back on to so, but I think one of the reasons they do so well, I mean, it's not just because, and actually most 90, I'd say 80% of us are onto them. We never give them, we never have money for them, which I don't, which even if I did, I'd be onto it because, like I said, my background was a newspaper reporter, editor, and then a newspaper reporter, editor, and I'm thinking of other subjects that, I mean, like related to what we were talking about, but and then insurance agent, and then of course teacher of K through 12, all different kinds of subjects, and I've read a lot of different things too, and that's why I'm kind of naturally suited for acting and writing some when I can make myself, you know, sit down and do something, but writing is more work than acting, in my opinion. That's not necessarily. It depends on the like auditioning. Theater for like a small little theater. We had a little theater like acting studios I was in. So that I took classes in. So at any rate. I think one of the reasons they do so well is because, regardless of your age, I don't think it matters whether you're a teenager, high school, which that's dangerous. I mean, I've never been blessed with my own beautiful children, but I've been a substitute teacher, so please keep the phones out of your kid. Watch what your kids are doing. Get them to open up about on the phone, okay? Because there's a lot of celeb imposters out, and of course I used to make jokes about it before, but then I felt feelings, you know, I actually felt feelings for the one actor before, not as because of him, and I never was a fan of him in more recent years. I even met him a few times, anybody to notice, but you know, I mean, you know, except when I was, well, whatever. So, or that I would notice. Sometimes I walk around like a clueless person or chicken with my head cut off, I used to say. So, anyway, I don't know. So, that's all. But that was different. That was before, and then the imposters can make it all kind of exaggerated and everything. They can build things up, see. So, but because, you know, and I have dated a lot in life and, you know, had real relationships. I don't want you to think I'm a goofy person. When my little headline clever saying, there's really not much wacky about me, actually. I'm very creative. I have a vivid imagination, kinds of stuff. But since I've always had issues with love and money a lot of my life, I've never really had the money to really freely just you throw caution to the wind and go here, go there, you know. I mean, who does? I mean, a lot of people just don't have that, you know, fortune or fame or fortune or even, you know, on a much smaller level. But you know, I have dated a lot more, of course, when I was in my 20s and early 30s, you know, and I was more thin then, you know, like slim.